All right, welcome to Sports Inside and Out. Now it's basketball time, NBA playoff time. And this will be something that's going to be very special because this is a special Wali Wonder update. That Hall of Famer, one of the greatest guards in the NBA from the first 35-year greatest team ever in the NBA history, the Hall of Fame team. And, of course, Wali being one of the greatest scouts and clinicians in the NBA, his reports are always sought after because he's just that much respected, not just here but around the world. And, of course, the Wali Wonder segment breaks it down as it should be. The real situation, not what the fans want to hear, the real situation behind the scenes from one who scouted and played at the best level. And before we get started, though, Wally, we want to give our shout-out to our military personnel around the world and our allies that's keeping us safe here and abroad. And, of course, American Forces Network, thank you so much for letting us partner with you and bringing the voice of the legends to all of our military personnel around the world. Seabreeze, leader in transitional housing and health care, dear friend Clarence Baker, great supporter of the show and the Legends of Sports, and of course our logistical management contingent, getting us from point A for point B in this year and beyond. And, of course, we like to give a great shout-out to Nissan of Norfolk and Nissan of Chesapeake. Those young fellas there doing a tremendous job and develop one of the premier Nissan dealerships in the country. SwappingKeys.com. Dan, the Nissan man down there with Mike Pulley, the general manager. Those two guys are doing a great job. Thank you for keeping us moving around in the mid-Atlantic, Virginia, and the Hampton Roads area. Let's go ahead and get it started. Wali broadcasting on SoundCloud around the world. One of the favorites. That's right. And Wally, the excitement's there. They're trying to get kind of situated with the last position, the 8th position out there in the West. It looks like it's going to be with the Derek Jerminski and them showing off last night on Utah. They kind of clinched their spot. But let's give a good table or elevator, Wally, on how it looks for the playoff time, how it looks with the favorites going in, what momentum is happening in there, and give us a good wrap-up with the Wali Wonder update.
All right, we'll start off with the Eastern Conference. And since I'm down here in Miami, and I've seen their transition, adding Joe Johnson, young man,
right.
Josh Richardson, rookie from Tennessee, and, of course, Justin Winslow. These young guys are really performing very well for the Heat. But they have to win the next 2 games, Coach, in order to move up to the number 3 spot.
Yeah.
And it would have them win the Southeastern Division, which they've been monopolizing for years, but they play, of course, Detroit this evening, and then on Wednesday they play the Boston Celtics.
Yeah.
Each team, I think, it's pretty important for them to move in that position because they move up to number 3, they'll be on the opposite side of Cleveland.
Yeah, to stay away from that.
And I think they don't want to be on that side, Coach.
No, they don't want to be on it, especially with the type of temperament that these guys have developed now, being that they've been tagged so much. Oh, you don't play Miami good. Y'all guys let down on Miami. Lord have mercy. You don't want that type of situation because, hey, we talked about off air. Looked like Cleveland done put a game face on here, Wally. Them cats got healthy, and they showing up and showing off.
Yes, they are, and they're moving the ball. I think Coach Tyrone Lue has given them the ability to not only, when you say downhill, they're getting the ball out, and I like what they said last night. A lot of times when the team scores, they put their heads down and walk the ball up. You're supposed to get that ball out and attack before the defense is set up. That's very important in professional basketball. The importance of having fast break points, opportunity scoring. You know how those threes are going. These guys are shooting those 3 balls like nothing out there.
Yeah.
So last evening when they beat the Hawks, which is a good team, and the Hawks are in the number 3 spot, it showed that they dominated them, and I think that's putting on their mind in case they have to play them in the finals of the Eastern Conference. And bringing up the rear again, we have Cleveland, Toronto, Atlanta, Miami, Boston, Charlotte are already in. Now Detroit is there with an A spot. Detroit is there. Indiana, number 7. But Detroit has clinched a spot. Now, the job that Van Gundy has done with that team has been tremendous to have those guys make the playoffs. So we can already count out Chicago, Washington. Unfortunately, some tough seasons for those two teams. They were looking for more from those teams in the beginning of the year, Coach, but unfortunately, they didn't perform up to their expectations, should I say.
Yeah, it's going to be, and today's situation with coaching is so frivolous. You can always automatically right now, even though that I would say the coaches in Washington, of course, has had a great run to be able to turn things around. I don't see where they're going to be too much patient. I'm hearing them with those rumbles in Washington now. It's time to get another coach to be able to adapt with the way the team now is heading, starting next year and beyond. Of course, and in Chicago, that was an experiment from the start. There's no way you're going to get rid of them in the first year, but you never know with the way the positions and the instability of the coachings in the NBA is now. They fire you out for years now, so you don't know what to expect from a while. That's what they, in the old days when we coached professional basketball year overseas and more patient overseas, of course, particularly if they know the pedigree of what you can do. There's more stability over there, but in the NBA, it's almost like rotating chairs now, man. Guys ain't got too much latitude, but one guy I do respect, Wally, before you get on the west side. I'm hearing so much. They're making fun of the young man. They say, "Oh, it's LeBron's team." They're not giving Lou, to me, the respect that he's deserving of, because he has turned that team around and put it into a situation that they will be capable of doing something great, unlike before. And when I hear these announcers, the guy's throwing towels at the coach and they towel it, what the heck? What does that got to do with anything? Yeah. It's really nonsense, but that's the way our media, that's not intricately involved in the analytical structure of the game, like Sports Insider and the guys we use, the legends. When you're just talking about superficial conversation as they do now, never getting into the meat of what the sport is about and what the players are doing, you come up with those ludicrous comments. But it is what it is. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think what's important, which they don't know, and I know how LeBron respects him, but all the players respect him because he gets on LeBron just as much as the other players.
Right.
They stop a lot of foolishness regarding that Twitter and all that madness, the social media, and let's get down to playing basketball, and that's what this is all about. The importance of winning not only the Eastern Conference Championship, but being in the finals, which is LeBron would, again, that'd be 6 straight years. And I haven't, when you talk about great players, he demands a lot. I saw him last night get on Tristan Thompson.
Yeah.
Not jumping on the floor. And that's what it's about. You got to go all out. You got to put your whole soul into the game. He puts his soul into the game, but one thing I said is communication. And they do respect Tyronn Lue. You could see when they come in the house.
Yeah.
And you can see that. And it's very important to have that type of communication with your leader. And I see they have respect. I don't listen to those superficial comments from people that don't know the game and don't understand the dynamics of leadership. And he has a great leadership quality, and I like the way he stands and tells these guys, this is what we need to win the championship. Mm-hmm. And speaking on another note, I'm going to say something right now because Wade said something very interesting coming from Chicago. It didn't matter to him whether they break Michael Jordan's record. He just thinks they're doing a great job of what Golden State's doing with Steve Kerr, who was on that team that had 72 wins for Chicago. Right. The comments are pretty interesting because it's quite outstanding. 72-9. It speaks for itself, Chuck. Mm-hmm. And I really believe they will break the record. They play the Grizzlies coming up, but I'm just going to make a comment to our listeners abroad and also in the United States. I just saw this morning $25,000 tickets, $18,000 tickets. Golden State, Kobe's last stand That's where these prices are going up. They seem to be ridiculous, but people will pay that type of money to go see ball players. I know we've been to a few games with the Wizards and Sixers, and you look at tickets for even $250 for lower bowl. That's a lot of money for any any family to have to put out. But they love the game that much, and when I saw those prices go up, they're really exorbitant. I mean,
I saw I'm looking at the articles now here on screen, and the people are saying that they're paying this because they want to be a part of history. I saw this is a history, and I'm looking at and just listened to the interview they did with Karl Malone and Dr. J on Kobe's career. And and the few times that, of course, that people know that Karl Malone played with Kobe one year before he retired.
That's right.
And, he was just saying, he said, listen, I don't care what you say, how he goes out. This is history, and he's going out his way. He's going out as we all would have wanted to go out at this particular time, because the game has changed so much. What he's doing now is just saying, thanks for the 20 years. Thanks for helping me for the 20 years, and for people to throw out there this the host of the show was trying to bait Doc and Carl into saying something negative about Kobe's season. And he said, what do you think? Yeah, he said, listen, man, why are y'all saying this thing about Kobe?
Right.
They said the same thing about me and Carl here, but because of the things of the way it is. And then the guy came in and said, well, what about the championship team? He said, listen, furthermore, you're talking apples to oranges. When you start talking about the Chicago Bulls' greatest team and the Warriors' greatest team, it is an entirely different game. He says that Michael Jordan was grabbed, beaten, everything in the world during the old. It is no way that you can compare that, because if that type of game was still played today, you would not see the Golden State that you see now.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
He's just saying. He said point blank, and then they were showing excerpts of how a couple of teams had grabbed Michael's jersey so hard it had pulled it all the way off his shoulder. And he still went up and shot the J. Then he said, then they flipped over to Curry. As soon as he got up there, somebody put their hand on his hip.
Yeah.
They called the foul. So, please don't. I mean, it's interesting for fans to think, oh, yes, they could do this. No way, Jose. Let me tell you something. If you ever wanted to see somebody get into your face and get into your mind and get into your job, you're talking to him or you listening to him, and that was Wally Jones. The last thing anybody wanted to do is have Wally Jones on him. You see what I'm saying? Because Wally will make you earn everything that you got on the court. And that goes from Tony Archibald. Everybody we talked to was, man, who was the worst cat you ever wanted to get on to? It's Wally Jones. So it's interesting though, Wally. But again, we're talking about a different facet of expertise and analytical breakdown of a game than is today, because most of these people now that are talking about what's going on in the NBA today weren't even old enough to understand what a basketball was back then.
Yeah, different game.
Yeah, just game. Yeah,
less physical. But you look at their record, and San Antonio. I mean, they did a tremendous job losing to the San Antonio Spurs for years on the home court, and they won it. They tied the record on San Antonio's floor, which broke their record of having 41 straight at home. But when you look at a season like that, you got San Antonio 65-15, great record.
Yeah.
Oklahoma, Clippers, Portland, surprise, great coaching job by Coach Stott, and Damian Lillard and McCollum. That young man should probably be the most improved player, the other guard from Lehigh. You got Memphis. They made the team. They're sixth place, and here they lost everybody, and that guy's done a great job down in Memphis. My goodness, they're right there at 42-38. But here it is again, Coach, 7 and 8 spot. And of course, we could talk about when you talk about the firing of McHale at Houston and having Bickerstaff to take over. They still have a chance. They won last night. And one of the things that's very important, Dallas is 41-39, Utah is 40-40, Houston is 40-41, so they still have a chance. They have an opportunity to, if they win their next two games, they have an opportunity to take that 8th spot. But that's going to be very, very tough in that Western Conference division.
Yeah.
I just see Oklahoma again. And I got a comment on that because he broke or tied Magic's record, I guess. Westbrook had his 18th triple-double, and he had it at the first half. So you're talking about phenomenal athletes, phenomenal players. Again, it's a different game, but those two guys, Kevin Durant and Westbrook, are just two tremendous duo.
Yeah, it is.
And that's going to be tough. They're in 3rd spot. They got that spot locked up. I saw the Clippers. They still playing the game. It's different type players since Blake is back, and he looked very well the other night, Coach.
Yeah, I saw that. He's he's really come a long ways. And actually you can tell he's growing up mentally too. His IQ is getting better.
Oh yeah, I mean this guy can play the game. He had rebounds, assists. He's still scoring.
Yeah,
but they need him, and I just like the way they played without him. But now with him, they're going to be even tougher. So that again, the Western Conference, of course. The favorite they see again is Golden State. I think they'll break the record against the Grizzlies, having 73, which I don't think will ever be accomplished again. Of course, you never say never when you talk about sports, but that young team is playing some great basketball. The way the ball moves, the way they play together, is phenomenal. And the show that Kerry put on was just fantastic. He should be the unanimous MVP. And I've been around quite a while seeing ball players, and this young man can play basketball. I'm going to give you a terminology I use when I used to play. They say basketball player. He's a player of basketball. He plays with the game.
Right.
And I give you a definition of that. I thought as entertainment, part of my job was to entertain. So I played with basketball to make it entertaining so I could be, as they said in some papers, everybody has their type of game that you want to come see. You want to entertain people. And he's entertaining the audience of the skill level of handling, passing, shooting. The knowledge of the game of their whole team is just phenomenal, the way they look for each other and pass the ball. The game is a beautiful game, and they make it look so well. And I attribute a lot to Steve Kerr and Luke Walton. We gotta say about that, because he handled that team for the first, I guess, 25 or 30 games. And when you talk about records, we were 68-13. The Lakers were Wilt, West, and Gale, and those guys are 69-13. And of course, there you go in the 70s. You go with the Chicago Bulls, that great team, and again with the Golden State Warriors, 72-9. So I think they'll get 73 again. Memphis.
And, I think we overlooked one person to help put that team together, that it was just passed along as is, was Mark Jackson.
Oh, very good point, Coach. Very good point.
He's been completely overlooked. He's the one that gave them the identity that they have now. So it was an easy pass along for Curry. All he had to do was just up it up a little bit more and put a little bit more of that Chicago spread on it. But it was developed and created by the auspices of a great one himself, was Mark West. We got to give him credit, but credit is due on that.
Mark Jackson.
Mark Jackson, I should say. Mark Jackson. No question.
Tremendous coach. Again, great basketball coach, and I think one of the things that the NBA should be very proud of. They're proud of, and they talking about the audience. I mean, for that game, phenomenal audience. When you talk about people wanting to watch a game, that game against San Antonio broke the record for people observing a game of that nature, which was still a regular season, but it's like a playoff game.
Yeah, it was.
And, they came through, and I have to say that about that team on the road, and they hadn't won there in years. And they had a chance to take care of their record. So I'm enjoying the basketball, enjoying the type of play. It's going to be exciting to see these playoffs coming up on Saturday, I believe, is the first game starting NBA playoffs.
Yeah, we'll be on top of it with the Wally Wonder segment with Sports Inside and Out. And again, thank you so much for letting us be a part of your day. And don't forget, keep laying in here. Tune in. You got the best sports talk show for legends on radio, but one of the best analytical breakdowns of the NBA right here on Sports Inside and Out with Wally Jones. We call him Doc. He's all over the place. All right, Wally. Okay, we'll check with you on the next run out, Wally, but always remember one thing. When legends speak, everybody listens. Out of here, Wally. Okay, babe.
All right, take care, Coach.
All right, peace now.
Have a good day.